swing among the leaves of green. Here we come, the warsling, so fair as to be seen. Love and joy come to your wassail, to you. Praise God and send you a happy new year. A happy new year, a happy new year. Praise God and send you a happy new year. We are not daily beggars that beg from door to door, but we are neighbours' children that you've seen before. Love and joy come to your wassail, to you. Praise God and send you a happy new year. A happy new year, a happy new year. Praise God and send you a happy new year. We've got a little purse made from the leather skin. Please give us some money to line it well within. Love and joy come to yourself, to you. Praise God and send you a happy new year. A happy new year, a happy new year. Praise God and send you a happy new year. Bless the master of his house, likewise the mistress too, and all the little children that around your table grow. Love and joy come to yourself, to you. Praise God and send you a happy new year. A happy new year, a happy new year. Praise God and send you a happy new year. Comes old King Christmas all dressed in green and gold, and may he never be forgot, his story left untold. For it's once a year he brings good cheer, our spirits to engage, the like was never seen before on any common stage. For we are not of a ragged sort, but some of royal trim, will sweep away the old year and bring the new year in.
In comes I, old King Christmas, welcome or welcome not. I hope that old King Christmas will never be forgot. Forgotten. It sometimes seems rotten to find that I've been left behind. There's a pretender here, a prince of Christmas, a new King Christmas in waiting, aye. A new King Christmas with all he brings, a sack of such commercial things, where once it was a simple life, now Christmas seems just full of strife. With Christmas lists of gifts galore, endless expense unless you're poor, of course. If that should be the case, then of such luxury no trace. This new King Christmas sees on earth some fresh traditions giving birth to Santa hats and seasonal trinkets, secret Santa, pigs in blankets, and 12 days of Christmas. Where's that fled? 12 weeks more like. I feel the dread of Advent come well in advance and think to start my shopping dance on Black Friday, whatever that is. In the first week of Christmas my true love said to me, "Don't forget to put the clocks back this Sunday." Pah! Am I too old and past my prime to understand this new Christmas time? Things must move on, of course they will, but still the night, holy the night, all is calm, all is bright. The holly and the ivy adorn my staff, a symbol of our Christian times, but mistletoe atops my hat, an ancient sign from northern climes when infant Jesus merely was a glint in some god's eye one day, whilst other gods drank heartily to drive the cold winter away. But heed not this curmudgeon old, no need to hear his loud complaints. New Christmas has arrived, along with lots of all new glittering saints. Less Nicholas and Wenceslas, for they're not brought to mind today. Now Hermes' four-wheeled messenger brings gifts from Saints Amazon and eBay. But no matter, it's still a family time, and the meanest budget can afford to socially distant friend to say, in all sincerity and love, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And, as old great-grandfather Christmas used to say centuries ago, mustn't grumble. That reminds me, where is St. George?
In comes St. George, that noble champion bold, who fought the fiery dragon, made the tyrant's blood run cold. And as through this world he wanders to fulfill his destiny, well, they must die who dare to try and challenge liberty. For we are not of a ragged sort, but some of royal trim, will sweep away the old year and bring the new year in.
In comes I, St. George, that noble champion bold, with trusty sword and shield, but a different tale to be told, beginning in the east, far from this cold. I had fled Cappadocia and the Roman Empire. With Diocletian as boss, the future was dire. With sword and spear, a proud but hungry Turk, I crossed the Mediterranean, poor and wanting work. I needed asylum, a travel corridor. My wish was granted on a stony Kent shore. Many bloody deeds and wonders have I known, but the Prince of Paradigm was no longer on his throne. In the year 2020, I was on my own. I had no one to inch and pinch, small as flies, to send overseas to make mince pies hot, mince pies cold. No, he'd already left for the devil, to whom his heart he had sold. What was I to do in this cold, strange land, without a prince to smite with sword in hand? The job centre had nothing to match my skill, to bravely fight and deftly kill. Rumours of a beast then spread, of a dragon laying waste to the north. A sword was needed to remove his head. Fearless St. George sallied forth. To Junction 22 I followed the route, to track and trace the fearsome brute. In shining armour I climbed Rishworth Moor, to search for the source of the rasping roar. I found my fiery foe, and readied my spear, but the once mighty monster lay trembling with fear. The fire was out, its spirit was broke. From its red raw throat came one last croak. On a mouthful of plastic did him choke. From that day on I began a new crusade. With Saints Packham and Attenborough a vow we made, to fight for the dragons and bring back their smiles, make England safe for all fire-breathing reptiles. The fight we will win, ours will be the victory. St. George for dragons of England and sweet liberty.
In comes a valiant soldier, Prince Paradigm by name. With sword and shield he will not yield, and hopes to win more fame. So it's of these noble champions, both born of high renown, and they have made a solemn vow to pull the other down. For we are not all the ragged sort, some of royal trim, will sweep away the old year and bring the new year in.
The devil calls the players on, nobody cheers for me. Eulogise them all in song, nobody cheers for me. Christmas King loves food and wine, St. George is bred of royal line. Common Jack works overtime, the doctor conman or divine. Beelzebub, evil by design. But no one's heard of Paradigm, nobody cheers for me. I am Paradigm the Prince, a warrior whose origins are a mystery, whose martial mastery leads us to think my past to be crusader or janissary, famed in fable and history. So why did you not hear of me? And why does no one cheer for me? Prince Paradigm and St. George fight, nobody cheers for me. Clashing swords disturb the night, nobody cheers for me. The prince disarmed, George turns to crow. Behind his back the vanquished foe rearms and strikes the mortal blow. Nobody cheers for me. Hurrah! St. George has won! Prince of Paradigm undone! That'll learn you, foreigner. St. George is slain by foreign hand. Nobody cheers for me. Mourning all across the land. Nobody cheers for me. Paradigm boasts the saint's defeat, takes his place at George's feet, faces down the cries of cheat, and nobody cheers for me. I should have said I never lose. I did not win is how I choose to tell bad news. Perhaps I bent the rules a bit, provoked the audience watching it to yell abuse. I did not concede. I didn't say pax, so no reason not to attack to fell the loser. Common Jack has come to find his son. Nobody cheers for me. Pleads for help from anyone. Nobody cheers for me. The doctor says, I can cure him and have him back in fighting trim. He'll tear Paradine limb from limb. Nobody cheers for me. Apologies to Common Jack for his sad loss. I cannot be held responsible because St. George challenged me. He said that he would pinch me small as flies, and similar taunts and threats and lies, but I was the man who cut him down to size. Oh, but for your loss I'm sorry. The doctor waves his bloody stave. Nobody cheers for me. And St. George rises from the grave. Nobody cheers for me. The doctor leaves to great acclaim. St. George points at me for blame and curses Paradine by name. Nobody cheers for me. Last to appear, that jolly old man, nobody cheers for me, is Beelzebub, devil, Satan. Nobody cheers for me. There's nonsense in his curious rhymes, but folks are laughing at his lines and threats we've heard 100 times. Still, nobody cheers for me. By joining hands we end our play. We will not fight again today. A smattering of polite applause and money tinned for a local cause. The muted mutterings as we leave are all the cheer that I'll receive. Good night, God bless, go safely home. But when you hear this humble poem, please give a cheer for me.
In there comes a working man, they call him Common Jack. He puts food inside our bellies and the clothes upon our back. Hard labour is his destiny from the moment of his birth. If the rich take all the money, oh, the poor will take the earth. For we are not all the ragged souls, son of royal trim. We'll sweep away the old year and bring the new year in.
In comes I, a common man, just one of this planet's most effective clan. Common in struggle, strife and task, bonded by history, experience past. And yet cracks show that push us apart, minds changed by agendas, not by hearts. These are the goals of money and wealth, our chains and cages built by ourselves, encouraged by those we chose to protect us, manipulating our fears to push their agendas. But why do I eat up this shit when I could rise above and call them out as unfit? Why do I know more about celebrity than my neighbours, or hashtag first world problems, not my community's labours? How can I care that milk is low priced, more than that the farmer or cow can have a good life? How can I have been made to think like this, convinced by others who've made it business? I know the problems that are mine. Let others dictate that I never have time to address them, analyse them and see their truth and leave them behind from lack of proof. Fight for freedom for myself and others, my fathers, mothers, sisters and brothers. The lure of convenience, comfort and riches has led to my planet coming apart at the stitches, while towers, truth, trust and forests burn. Do I think the rising water is actually my redemption? It can't go away because I choose not to understand. Am I waiting for something to force me to stand? What will be my line in the sand? For when it comes, this final straw will see us rise, uncaring no more. We can meet each other to give and take and make it for the other's sake. This world will not be easy, cosy or without pain, but it will finally, truly be common, and we can rebuild it for our children's gain, not make them go through the same. What will be our line in the sand?
In there comes a doctor, as plainly doth appear, and by his art to play his part he travels far and near. And his lotions and potions to ease us of our pain, and bitter pills to cure our ills, see England rise again. For we are not of the ragged sort, some of royal trim, will sweep away the old year, bring the new year in.
In comes I, a doctor rare and fine. I am the latest in a long professional line. Proud my calling, long my education. No easy thing to follow this vocation. We doctors laid the Pharaoh in his tomb, and lifted Caesar from his mother's womb, and we restored a king's disordered mind. We heal the sick, bring eyesight to the blind. We make a pill for every ill, a salve for every pain, a plaster for each fresh disaster. And every time St. George is slain, we find a way to bring him back again. We cure the pox, the palsy and the gout, the pains within, the pains without. If a man has 20 devils in his head, we'll find a way to cast them out. We make a pill for every ill, a salve for every pain, a potion for each crazy notion. And every time St. George is slain, we find the means to bring him back again. I have a vial of insulin to help the diabetic, and those ingesting poison I will purge with an emetic. Never fear the surgeon's knife, I have the anaesthetic. Soldier, have you lost a leg? March on with my prosthetic. Yet though we conquer, we may never rest. Each victory leads on to another test, and so today, in deadly battle, we chase down a foe that's far too small to see. Till there's a pill for every ill, a salve for every pain, an injection for each new infection. Rise up, St. George, and fight again. Rise up, St. George, to dance and sing. After winter comes the spring, sunshine follows after rain. Rise up, St. George, and live again.
In there comes Beelzebub, a name forever cursed. He's before you, he's behind you, he's the last that would be first. Put your hands into your pockets, your money he do crave. To see this play, you must pay or join him in the grave. For we are not of the ragged sort, some of royal trim, will sweep away the old year and bring the new year in. We'll sweep